Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Time with Byron. I'm your host, Byron. This is episode number 113. And alongside me is former UFC fighter, Gray the Bully Maynard. Thank you for joining me today. A long time, finally. How are you today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Couldn't have said it any better. Wish it would be better. The weather would be better because it's summertime here in Florida.
Yeah,
But, it is what it is. How about
a
where
little
you're
hot, huh?
Yeah, how about where you're living?
Michigan's good, man. It's nice. It's beautiful.
I believe it. So let's start off. I'm curious. I asked all the MMA fighters I have, how'd you get the nickname Bully? Did you dumb it? Did you dub it yourself, or did who gave you that nickname first, the Bully? Because that's an
Nah,
interesting nickname.
yeah, I kind of got it in college. I just trained pretty hard and maybe a bully in practice, but I'm not really, a bully. But
Right.
uh, and I rescued a dog, a bull terrier, and he was kind of not great with other dogs. He kind of had a couple glitches, but they just kind of nicknamed us, bullies, and it stuck.
So the story is well known because I've heard it, just like most of the UFC fans heard it from Mike Goldberg and them. The story: you were an All-American at Michigan State. You shared a room with Rashad Evans, or were his teammate. How
Yeah.
was Rashad as a teammate, and how was he as a person when you got to wrestle with him?
Yeah, he was a good friend. We always roomed together when we were traveling, and just a good dude. We always we kept in touch when he went down to Albuquerque after he moved out of Lansing, or when he started to train in Albuquerque. I went down to train with him a little bit and just always kept in touch. But yeah, we kind of ran the team when we were here, and it was good when we were in college.
So tell us about that. Tell us about that. Did you win that championship, Division 1? Did you win that? Tell us about that time that you had at Michigan State. How much did you learn? Were you trying to get into mixed martial arts at the time? Tell us about that time. What made you want to get into MMA?
Yeah, I was a three-time All-American. I wonder, um, I never won the national championships, but if you're an All-American, you place in the top eight in the country,
Mhm.
and I did that three times. And then, MMA wasn't really big back when I was in college. I graduated in 2003,
Mhm.
and then I moved back to Vegas right after college. And I was trying out for the Olympic team in '04 down in Arizona. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, got back to Vegas, and MMA was kind of blowing up, and jumped into a jujitsu gym, and then went with um, BJ Penn flew me down to Hawaii, and I got a taste of like MMA a little bit more, and yeah, just kept doing it.
Now, according to Wikipedia, you can never trust Wikipedia, unfortunately. Uh, it says
Yeah.
it says you're still It says you're still active fighting. Are you retired, or are you still fighting somewhere that we don't know about?
Um, no, I got a grappling match coming up. I mean, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze right now. I mean, maybe if a person came with a good offer, I'd probably compete still. But no, my life kind of revolves around, you know, just being healthy and training and I'm never really like I'm always ready to go, I guess, if the if the
Yeah,
price is right.
right. Seeing what Randy Couture did at his age throughout those years when he was in his late 40s, do you think you could do what he did if the time was right, or if the fight was right, the money was right? Do you think you could still have what it takes to win a fight against these young boys?
Yeah, I mean, I train a lot, and it just goes, kind of day by day. It's just more of uh right now I feel great, and I train pretty much every day, and train with good guys, and yeah, I'm
Now,
good.
as you said, you already brought this up. Um, BJ Penn brought you to Hawaii to train, which was part in your start to MMA for the Ultimate Fighter. Now, tell us about that competition, about that year that you were on that show. How much did you learn from that show, and how much you think it helped you to where you're at, to where it got you in mixed martial arts?
Yeah, um being on the TV show, uh it was definitely challenging because it's not really reality. You're not training in the place where you're comfortable, and it's called a reality TV show
Right.
because it pretty much creates drama. But um no, it was good. It was a good chance to kind of get my name out there, get my foot in the door. Back then 155 was just getting going again, and Pride was kind of on the ropes, and yeah, it was the right timing, and it helped. It definitely was good.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of testosterone in that house. I'm sure you guys got into it quite a bit. There was quite a bit because they knew it was a TV show, so somebody had to wear the black hat. Who was the black hat in your season?
Um, Nobody was really the black hat. We actually kind of instigated a fight in the backyard between a couple guys. Um, Other than that, everybody kind of knew, um, like at the end of the day, it was kind of like prison rules. Don't touch me, don't touch my food, and we're good. That's how it was with me.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. I don't blame you on that one. So yeah, like you said, you were a lightweight at 155, and then you went down to I believe it's featherweight, which is 145.
Yep.
Tell us the difference between the two divisions. Which one do you think you were better at, the lightweight or featherweight division?
It just like as I got older, there was a lot of bigger guys cutting weight. They were featherweight probably was my more natural weight to cut to. But yeah, they both were. There was never a time where I felt like completely overpowered or complete, completely outclassed.
Now, before we get into your other fights, I gotta ask you your trilogy with um, Frankie, the Answer, Edgar. Did you guys legitimately have a rivalry? Was that actually real, or was partly scripted? Did you guys really hate each other until you guys actually got into the octagon and fought those three
No, we
fights?
didn't hate each other. I mean, we just were competitors. We wanted to beat each other. He's actually one of the better guys in the sport. Like as far as personally, he's a great guy, and no, I never had a problem. I think that was kind of the downfall of the rivalry, was the fact that we didn't talk a lot of crap to each other, and we just put it all in the octagon.
Now, the first fight between him, do you think you honestly should have won that fight?
I did win that fight.
Or was that what am I
Yeah.
thinking? The second, I'm thinking the second fight. Never
Second one.
mind.
Yeah.
The second one, yeah, my bad. Do you think you should have won that one, or do you think he won it?
Yeah. I mean, um, he won it, or it was a draw. That's just kind of what it was. And I feel like I won it, and he probably does too. But there's no way to go back and change it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Now, did you feel snubbed that you didn't get the title shot before BJ got his before he got his uh retitle match at UFC 118? Because you even though you won on that card to get that right,
Yeah.
technically you should have gotten it first before him. Did
Yeah,
you
I probably felt a little bit more snubbed when Frankie Edgar got it, over me against BJ Penn.
I feel yeah, because you were the only man that beat him at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were the only man to ever beat him in the octagon or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And Dana White, I guess, apparently said you just weren't ready, which I did not get one bit. I
Yeah.
mean, God bless Dana, but I don't understand that theory. So did he ever tell you? Did he ever explain to you why what his thought process was in that?
No, he just does what he wants. You know, I mean, that's like his money's on, or his mind's on money. Not really um, just what's right, and is what it is.
Very, very true. I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it myself. So obviously you trained at Extreme Couture with Randy Couture. Tell us about that. How hard working is Randy Couture in the gym?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the guys that kind of introduced me to more smart training. Um, you know, he doesn't talk a lot, but when he does, you listen. And yeah, he was a great coach.
How much did you learn? How much of the knowledge did you learn from him? Because
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
all family.
that was a big part of my career at the beginning, was just kind of structuring my training, structuring, how I fight, um, with, through his coaching.
Now tell us about. According to Wikipedia, you ended up having a contest to where you had suffered a concussion. What bout was that? Do you remember what bout that was? Was that your first ever bout in the UFC?
No, I got a couple TKOs, but I mean, obviously that's probably medically termed as a concussion.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah.
um, so uh you fight Rich Crementi at UFC 90. Tell us about that fight. What went on in that fight and what went on in your strategy going into that fight?
Yeah, that was the first time I was on a pay-per-view card, I think. And
I believe it was. That's
yeah,
what
he was
it was.
just he was a crafty, um just vet. He like been in the octagon a lot. He beat Anthony Johnson like a couple before that, maybe right before that. And he was just had to go out and control him, and get the win.
And then shortly after that, you 6 UFCs later, you face off against one of the Miller brothers, Jim Miller, which the
Yeah.
Miller brothers are beast. Tell us about that fight.
Yeah, that was in Ohio, and I went to high school in Ohio, so it was a big deal to get out there, and I just, like, everybody was kind of talking about Jim Miller, and how he was a beast, of course, and um, I just wanted to go up against the best guys, and it was kind of, for me, it was kind of an easy fight.
Now, tell us about the lightweight division at the time. You guys had a stacked division when you competed, from Kenny Florian, Roger Herta, Clay Guida, like the Jim Miller, like we just mentioned, Clemente, all those guys. Were you blessed to have fought in that division? Because that's a top of line, guys. I want to say that was one of the better divisions that was around that in that time compared to the welterweights when you had a bunch of well-known welterweights and all that. Your division was stacked. How hard was it for you to compare to the likes of those guys? I know you did your own. Obviously, you got a title shot, but how hard was it to mix in with all those great talent? Because that's a huge
Yeah, no,
you had.
it was great. You know, there was a lot of guys to choose from, and you know, once you got to the top, you had a couple guys who were kind of choosy about who they wanted to go up against. And, you know, I took all the people that I took on all the people that nobody would want because it was a tough fight, you know, and that's what I did.
Now, your next fight was against Roger Herta. Tell us about that fight. What was your strategy into that fight?
Yeah, he was just a tough kid. You know, I knew it was going to be a barn burner, and you know, he took a little bit of layoff, but he brought it. It was good. It was a good fight. It was fun.
All right. I couldn't have said it any better. I do actually remember that because that was on TV. I believe
Yeah,
that was one of the last ones, or a couple of last ones on Spike TV before they switched over.
yeah.
Now, you then fought. Your next fight was against Nate Diaz at another fight night. Tell us about that fight because the Diaz brothers, they're another bunch of brothers that are very well talented, also trained by the Gracies, also well known. Tell us about that fight.
Yeah, he beat me on the TV show. So, you know, I was going in to get redemption and I trained hard. I was prepared. The TV show, I felt like I wasn't really prepared to go up against him. And, yeah, I was just ready to go, you know, and it's a tough fight. Anytime you're going up against like Nate Diaz, you know, he's got a chin. You know, he's awkward. He's got good jujitsu. He's got good striking, but, yeah, it was fun. You know, I
Now,
got the win, and that's when Frankie Edgar went against a guy named Matt Veach, like about that time, and that's when he got the title shot.
yeah, that's where I sort of felt like you should have got the title. Yeah, I
Yeah, and that's
love
what they
that.
said is yeah, you had a close fight with Nate Diaz, but it's like Nate Diaz is it's always going to be a tough fight, you know.
Which on him, do you like where he's going now? I know he's gone from the UFC now with his contract, and he fought. I think what was it? One of the Paul brothers, or I think
Yeah,
it was.
he's supposed to go up against him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you like where do you see him going nowadays? Or do you see him going to another promotion? Because I know he wanted to stay in the UFC, but obviously it just
Yeah.
didn't work out.
Yeah, he
Apparently,
just wants to make money, man. I mean, this is a rough career
right, right.
to not get paid what you're worth, you know, and if he can get paid what he's worth, you know, and make the most fighting Jake Paul, then you know, he's put in his time. He's created the name and whatever he can do to make his money, you know, do it.
Did you look into doing that yourself during
Not
your
really. Like once I kind of got done, or once I parted ways like with the UFC, you know, I got a couple offers and I was talking to a couple promoters, but that was 2018 before Jake Paul and you know all of those guys got that going and you know, I've just been doing my own stuff. You know, I got two kids and we travel a lot. We're
right?
outdoors a lot and we just live life, and if something got laid on my lap that was, you know, remotely interesting and kind of worth it, you know, I might, you know, might get back in there.
So do you do you honestly like? I know I kind of I'm half and half on this. I want your take on this. I I kind of respect the fact what Jake Paul is doing, and the with him wanting to show his talents, whatever, get his name out there. in boxing, because ultimately that's what he wants to do. Because he hasn't come out and said he wants to do MMA, but I know he wants to box because that's what he's been doing. Don't Do you think he should honestly? Because this is what I think he should do. I mean, I know the money is great and out there, and these fighters are taking it, but I personally think he should be fighting if he wants to get his name out there. He should be facing people around his age that have actually aren't over the hill, because the ones that he's fighting seem to be like over the hill. Don't even like Anderson Silva,
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier, all them guys. I mean, I respect that he wants to show his talents and all that, but don't you think if you want to get out there, don't you think you should fight somebody that's actually currently in the game?
I mean, at the end of the day, when you get in the ring, it's like it's unfortunately about money, now, and um, it's just whatever he can get away with, people still buy it, and he never fought Cormier, and he fought Tyrone Woodley.
That's what. Yeah, that's. Yeah, sorry, bad.
Tyrone Woodley. I mean, he's not really a boxer, but if you look at a boxer's career, anyways, the first 20 bouts, are kind of gradually stepping up, and he's only had what, 4 fights, 5 fights.
Yeah.
And regardless of Anderson's age, that guy's a beast. That guy is a striking genius. And, that was really surprising to see him beat him. Tyson Fury's brother, he did lose to him, and he's pretty young, and he's a boxer, and hopefully he learns off that and he gets better.
Now, also into the boxing realm, I got to ask you about I thought it was a hoax of a fight, and they want to plan on having another one too, I believe, down the line. I think there's also be another hoax. The McGregor and Mayweather. What's your take on that? Are you in the same boat as me? Like it's nothing but a whole freaking joke, even though it's money, the money cap for both. It's nothing but a whole joke.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't really watch it. I knew Floyd was going to beat him, and Floyd's arguably one of the best boxers ever, and it's just hard to jump into your first pro boxing fight and go up against a guy like Floyd, and it was just the two biggest names in the world in the combat sports, and but they made a lot of money off that.
Now back
But
to your.
Did I watch it? Not really. No.
I didn't either. I wasn't going to pay for it because I knew it was a hoax. It's a hoax. It's planned. It's basically WWE. Basically, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
This ultimately we got into a little bit. This ultimately got to your title fight when you fought Ken Florian at 118. You absolutely dominated him for those rounds. What was your game plan into going into that fight? And did you formulate your game plan to a T of what you wanted against him?
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty dangerous. He had knees and elbows and, good kicks, and he was elusive, but ultimately I knew I was going to ground and pound him and control him, and that's what I did. It was to go for the title, and yeah, it was just I wanted to prove that he was no match, really, and I beat everybody else, and I was ready for the title.
Now, you fought Clay Guida on UFC on FX4. Tell us about that fight where you won via split decision against him.
Yeah, I didn't really understand why it was a split. He was just kind of on the backtracks. Definitely changed his game plan that we thought he was going to bring. You know, he's an aggressive guy, and
Mhm.
he comes after you, but he changed up the game plan, and he was kind of on his wheels the whole fight, and it is what it is. But you know, I got the split, and that was it.
What was your game plan? What was your game plan? Was it just was it to take it to the mat, use your wrestling against him, or what was your game?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have to. He was gonna wrestle a lot more and attack a lot more, and we were prepared to go scrambles and ground and pound and to be on bottom a little bit, be on top, and we thought it was going to be a war, but it wasn't. It was him kind of backtracking.
And your next fight came against TJ Grant because you unfortunately were supposed to fight Joe Lozon, but unfortunately you had a knee injury. So your next fight was against TJ Grant at 160. What was your game plan going into that fight against TJ Grant?
Yeah, we knew he was a durable guy, and um, you know, when I got in there, like I hit him with some of the hardest shots I ever hit anybody with, and I could tell he was hurt, but he just wasn't going down, and then him and his coaches had a great game plan, and he saw that I was switching up my stance in the Clay Guida fight, and he caught me right as I switched the stance, and yeah, it was a good game plan, and he caught me. Hats off to him.
Now, did this fight ever go through? Because I don't know. According to Wikipedia, I don't see anywhere anything on this. Um, did you ever get a title shot with Benson Henderson? Because apparently you were supposed to get a title shot against Benson Henderson. Did that ever come through, or is it
No, they gave it
ballpark?
to Anthony Pettis.
Okay,
Yeah,
because at the
he
time,
was in Milwaukee.
wasn't crap. That was when basically all of I can't think of the time. That was basically all the time. Wasn't never mind. I can't remember now.
Okay,
I'm sorry. It was on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it right now.
no worries.
um so then you had your next fight after the TJ Grant. You have a rubber match with Nate Diaz. They gave you that. You lose by TKO in the first round to him. Tell us about that. What happened there? Did you follow your game plan like you wanted to?
Nah, I didn't really have a game plan. By that point, we were just we kind of knew that we weren't going to make the money that we were. Yeah, we just knew that. Like I was doing other stuff, by that point.
Mhm.
Like remodeling houses, flipping houses, and trying to make you know trying to make the ends meet, and wasn't really concentrating on training as much as I should have been. And it just that's the way that's kind of way the sport plays out at times. Is just you kind of know that the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Now, ultimately, I hate to bring this up because it might be a touchy subject. Um, Honestly, like we talked about earlier, it is a cutthroat business. You don't get paid much. You're basically getting paid to do what you love under the table, basically. Um, what? Why do you think that? Why do you think that is? You got these promoters making this money, but they don't want to pay the fighters when they
Yeah,
got all these sponsors. In your opinion, why do they undervalue the fighters and don't want to pay them?
because they don't have to, because there's no government regulation. There's the Muhammad Ali Act that covers boxing, but it doesn't cover MMA, which states you can't lock fighters into long contracts, and you got to disclose all the earnings, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And when the UFC was bought in 2000, maybe 99, the Muhammad Ali Act covered the, and the Fertitas and Dana White knew that the Ali Act covered boxing, but it didn't cover MMA, and they just bought the UFC, and yeah, just knew that they're going to make their own rules. And that's what they did, and that's what they're still doing, and that's why um, we're trying to get the Ali Act to cover MMA. We're trying to there's a big class action lawsuit going on. There's a
I was
lot of
about to
stuff
ask you
going
that,
on.
yeah, because I've heard
Yeah.
from other fighters that I've had other fighters on that have been a part of that lawsuit. Are you a part of that?
I'm not a part of it, but I'm working with them, and trying to help to get the word out there. There's just no rules. There's no rules, and when there's no rules, people are going to take advantage of not having any rules. And that's kind of way the MMA is, now. And we had the Ali Act. We had the Ali Act on the floor in 2016 or 17, and yeah, it got thrown out. Trump and Dana are close, and yeah, it was kind of a setback to us, but you know, we're still we're still working on it.
I'm just curious to ask. You don't have to say regardless. You don't have to answer. You can tell me yes or no, whatever. I don't care. But I just want to ask, how do you think that's progressing? Do you think it's getting somewhere with government? Do you think that's going to get passed?
Yeah, there's a couple of senators, who are um, kind of sticking up for us, and they want to get that back on the floor, and it's just getting out of hand now, and the money that the UFC is just raking in just doesn't make sense, for a lot of guys. But again, when you're honed in on your craft, and when you put in all that work, you just want to get out there, and yeah, it's a tough business, and you're kind of blinded by your passion when you're younger, and that's why uh, you don't see a lot of, that's why they want to get guys who have been in it a long time to get out of the UFC, because you start understanding what you're worth, and you start understanding what you're getting paid.
Yeah. Hence why these other yeah, that's true. Hence why these other promotions have gotten big time former athletes from the UFC.
Yeah.
Like the Bellator and the what was it?
One FC. Yep.
Yeah, the one in what's the other one on ESPN with
PFL.
yeah, but that's sister to UFC though, I believe, because that's
No,
also on ESPN.
no, that's that's on their own,
Oh, it
and they're
is.
trying to compete against the UFC as well.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
new to me. I thought because they had a partnership with ESPN with the UFC as well that they were together, sort
No,
of.
ESPN just pays for the broadcasting, I guess, and just works out deals with whoever.
Fair enough. So now I gotta ask you. We've been through most of your fights. Is there one certain fight in your career that you look back on that you thought, yeah, I should have easily won this fight, or I should have easily lost?
Yeah, probably the second half of my career. I was just, I was doing a lot of other stuff, and my concentration wasn't really on fighting, and that's my fault, but just is what it is, and that's why I'm trying to help guys get compensated correctly, in order to live like a life without stressing about bills, and especially if you're in the top 10, especially if you're in the top 20, you can't do two different jobs. You can't be stressed out, to where it's like I got to hurry up and take a fight just to pay my bills.
Now you see a lot of these former fighters doing gyms and training a bunch of kids and that, like a Chris Reben, still Randy Couture, well known, those guys. Florian's doing, I think, the same thing, and he's announcing to. Do you see yourself doing that, forming a gym, teaching young guys? Do you see yourself announcing? Where do you see yourself after you're done living the life of being a dad and watching your kids grow?
Yeah, we own a gym right now, and we own a coffee smoothie bar and a gym, and it's just, yeah, my wife's a nutritionist, and we combined both, and yeah, we're doing that.
There you go. There you go. Now, is there a fight that you would have wanted that never occurred that you would have wanted to fight in your time to now present day?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tough guys. Khabib would have been good. Dustin Poirier's like Dustin Poirier, he's a beast. There's a lot of great guys who would be cool to go up against them. To check where they're at, and but yeah.
Now, did you? Obviously you still watch the fights just like I do. I'm far behind though, so on
Yeah.
17 started retiring. But um, is there an up and coming fight that you want to see that's up on any of these other cards? And name any other promotion. You don't have to be UFC. Is there any
Yeah.
fight that you're looking forward to seeing?
Honestly, I don't really watch it anymore.
I'm with you. I just had to ask because I'm with
Yeah.
you. Well, I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm too
After
busy with a lot of stuff, and there's just too many cards, and I don't even really know the names anymore.
Same.
So
I
it's
don't know.
just,
Yeah. After
yeah.
everybody retired, I don't really know anybody anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to do is trying to weed out, all the big names, and just promote the UFC brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel yeah. It's not. I don't know. I don't. I understand that it's still going to be a strong fan base because it is, and it's going. They're always going to bring in money from the fans because it's just I don't know. I don't know. It's just tough to get. It's just tough to get into, knowing how I've talked to not just you, like I said, other UFC fighters, and like just how they treat you guys. It's
Yeah.
like I don't. I mean, should we really, as fans, be? Well, other fans don't know, but I do at least. Inside of
Yeah.
interviewed you guys, but should fans
Yeah.
really be watching it?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people like to be entertained, right? That's kind of the big deal now. That's why people watch YouTube. That's it. They just want to keep busy. They just want to be entertained, and the UFC kind of knows that, and they're just trying to, and that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to replicate the WWE, where it's not really about the guys, it's about the WWE brand, and just spit out a bunch of um, cards, and you know kind of promotions, and yeah, just get people in, just get guys in and out as quick as possible.
Did you like when they implemented when mixed martial arts implemented all these other? I think they I honestly, no offense to these other fighters, but I just think there's too many divisions.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same like me? There's just way too many divisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like boxing. There's, people are all, people are all different sizes, and I mean, it's just what they're doing. They're just trying to fill up cards, I guess.
Fill up that time slot, yeah. Fill up that money, yeah. um. So, what's your take on Conor McGregor? Is he good for the sport?
Um,
And would you have loved to punch him in the face?
I mean, he would have been great to go up against. He seems like he's a decent guy to the people he's around, and he was good and bad for the sport, blowing it up. But also, people look at the sport that aren't really fans, and it's like, yeah, these guys get paid, and even guys who are coming into the sport, they have these dreams that they're going to be a Conor McGregor, and he's just an anomaly. He came in at the right time, right place. The stars aligned really well, with him, and he took advantage of it. But that's not going to happen to anybody else. Like, literally, it's not going to happen to anybody else in the history of the sport or in the future of the sport.
Now, what can be said about John Jones? Because I know you know about him. He's had a rough past too, but
Yeah,
not like Connor's more of a show.
yeah.
John Jones is actually off the, but Dana White still. What about him? What's your take on that?
No, John Jones, he wanted more pay, and he was on the shelf for like 3 years. Like, they didn't give him a fight, and that's because he was locked into a contract. If the Ali Act covered MMA, then he would have been able to go to another promotion, and get paid what he wanted to check free market. But he didn't. And, John Jones isn't a Connor publicity wise. And, they didn't really need him. And they put him on the shelf, even though he's probably one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, by far.
But that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
The the actual fighting part doesn't really matter. It's just how much they need you.
Now I'm gonna put you on a spot here.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, unfortunately, you didn't get a title. But do you think you should be one time in the Hall of Fame or not?
I don't. It doesn't even cross my mind. If it happens, it happens. But it's probably not going to happen, just because I am speaking up against them, and I am speaking up to stand up for the fighters, and the UFC is really, it's ran by Dana, and he takes stuff personal, and it's just, it is what it is. But if it happens, that's cool. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not really worried about that either.
Now, knowing all this, with him doing, with you doing this, backing these fighters, have you even spoken to Dana since you've been backing up these fighters?
No, I haven't spoken to him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
Yeah.
don't expect you to.
Yeah.
Like you say, he takes things personally, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah.
So a couple more, and then I'll let you go. Um, if if the time was right, could you see yourself as being a broadcaster like a Ken Flo, Daniel Cormieros? Could you see yourself as being a broadcaster?
Man, that's just like, I watch what they go through, and even being a head coach of the pro fighters, and like having a fight team, you're on the road a lot, and you spend a lot of time away from your kids, and just really not my passion, right? To be, coaching would be great, but I don't know. It's just again, it's a lot of the head coaches are on that same grind, and like having to charge like guys who are on a 10 and 10 contract, charging them $2,000 or something. And it's just it's a grind, man. It's a grind. Everybody in that sport is on the grind, on the hustle, which is great. You got to do that, but the only people that are really winning, are the high ups in the UFC.
I agreed. Agreed.
And like, I don't want the cards stacked to that. That I don't want the cards stacked against me. To where, um, I'm taking away time from my family, and
Right.
and just not worth it.
And last question I will ask you is, can you share any stories off and on throughout your career, on the road, etc., that you would like to share with the audience? Is there any stories that you'd like to share?
Oh man, there's lots of stories. It's just, yeah, no, I got to do some cool stuff, and got to take care of my passion, and got to compete. But yeah, it was a good career. I don't look back. I don't regret stuff, just because uh, I had to do what I had to do, and yeah.
Couldn't have said any better. I mean, yeah, you did. You had a good career, I thought. I mean, I've 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 got Fight Pass, so I've looked back on pretty much all of everybody's fights. So from those
Nice.
that day, because that was, like I said to you, that was the era that I watched from. I think it was, the late '90s, early 2000s. That was my those were my years of watching it, because like I told you, everybody was still a part of it that I knew. Big
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a good time to watch it, man.
It was, and just like you said, nowadays it's just, I don't know. There's just no, I don't know anybody anymore. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. I don't really watch it at all. So,
Exactly, but I do thank you. It was fun.
yeah,
I said, off air, I'll stay in touch with you. I know it won't be every day, but hey, I'll still stay in touch with you here and there.
all good.
And if you're ever in Florida, let's hook up sometime. Let's meet up sometime if you're ever in Florida sometime.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate the interview, man.
Definitely, it was fun. I appreciate it, and um I'll send you both links like I did before, so you can go ahead and share those if you want.
All right.
Awesome, thank you. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
All right.
Have
Bye.
a good day. All right.
You too.
Bye. Great Maynard, everybody. Great Bully Maynard. So this concludes 113 of Coffee Time with Byron. It was a tremendous show. Great to have him on. Great to have these fighters on, talk about, what's going on in the sport. To the average fan, I know, like, it's going to be fun. You want to see the knockout, it's entertaining. But for me personally, since talking to these guys, I gotta say my opinion. These guys are doing what's right. I mean, it's not fair to them, so I'm going to drop it as that. And I hope they win the lawsuit. So, but until then, this concludes 113 of Coffee Time with Gray Maynard. You all have a good day. See you next time.